We start our doubleheader of Bigfoot stories in the state of Kentucky. What waited in the hills of Kentucky? My father grew up in the rolling hills of Kentucky, where dense forests seemed to stretch forever, and secrets felt buried in every shadow. One story he carried with him all his life dated back to around 1946, when he was just a boy. It was a quiet spring day, the kind where the earth smelled damp and alive, and he and his brother had gone out into the woods searching for wild mushrooms, a common pastime back then. They wandered deeper than usual, following game trails and weaving between towering trees until they came upon something neither of them had ever seen before. A massive opening in the side of a hillside. It yawned wide and dark, like the mouth of the earth itself. Curious and a little excited, they edged closer, whispering to each other about what might be inside. But as they approached, no more than 20 feet away, the forest suddenly fell silent. Then came a sound that stopped them cold. A deep, guttural growl echoed from within the cave. It wasn't like anything they had heard before. Not the warning of a bear, nor the snarl of a wildcat. This sound was heavier, almost deliberate, as if it carried intent. My father said he looked up and saw it then. Standing just inside the shadowed entrance was a figure. Tall, broad, and unmistakably alive. It wasn't fully in the light, but he could tell it was covered in dark hair and standing upright like a man. And it wasn't alone. Shapes shifted behind it, barely visible in the darkness, suggesting others lurking just out of sight. The creature let out another low growl, louder this time, a clear warning. My father and his brother didn't hesitate. Whatever curiosity had drawn them there vanished instantly, replaced by a primal fear. They turned and ran as fast as they could, branches snapping underfoot, not daring to look back until they were far from that place. Years later, when I asked him about it, I wondered aloud if he had seen Bigfoot, something out of legend. He paused for a long moment before answering. "I don't know what it was," he finally said. "But it wasn't a man, and it wasn't any animal I've ever known either." He never went back to that cave, and he never forgot what he saw standing in its mouth that day. Encircled in the Texas dark. I've had 2 encounters in Texas, 2 moments I still can't fully explain, even years later. I never actually saw anything, but whatever was out there made sure it was known. The first happened just north of Austin, near Granger Lake. My dad and I had gone out expecting nothing more than a quiet day outdoors. It was calm, almost too calm. The kind of stillness where every small sound carries farther than it should. At some point, we stopped moving and just stood there, listening. That's when we realized we weren't alone. Behind us, something was walking. Slow, heavy, intentional. Each step pressed into the ground with weight. Far too deliberate to be a deer, too steady to be anything small. It came right up behind us, close enough that we both froze without even saying a word. You don't always need to speak in moments like that. You just know. And then it stopped. For what felt like forever, though it was probably around 5 minutes. There was nothing but silence. No footsteps, no breathing, no movement. Just the unmistakable presence of something standing there, just out of sight. Every instinct told me not to turn around. Eventually, just as quietly as it had approached, it began to walk away. The same slow, heavy steps faded back into the woods, until there was nothing again but the wind and distant birds. My dad and I never chased it, never tried to see it. Some part of us understood that whatever it was, we weren't meant to. The second experience was even stranger. It happened down south, near Houston. My sister, a guide, and I were sitting in a blind, waiting and watching as the hours dragged on. Nothing had come through all evening, and we were all starting to drift off, half asleep, half bored. Then the night broke open. A scream rang out from one side of us. Sharp, loud, and unlike anything I'd ever heard. Before we could even process it, another answered from the opposite side. The first screamed again. Then silence. It wasn't just the sound, it was the way it felt. The air seemed to tighten around us, and every hair on my body stood on end all at once. It was pure instinct, a deep, unshakable warning that something was very wrong. No one spoke at first. We just sat there, wide awake now, listening to the darkness. Finally, our guide broke the silence. He said he'd spent years out there and had never heard anything like that. Not once. That alone made it worse. Nothing else came through that night. No movement. No follow-up sounds. Just that echo of those screams hanging in the back of our minds. I've been in the woods plenty of times, heard all kinds of animals, but those two experiences never lined up with anything normal. Whatever was out there, it wasn't something you could easily explain, and it definitely wasn't something you forget. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more Bigfoot stories. Make a donation to help us to continue to bring you videos, or shop from our merch store via the links in the description.